Hey everyone, it's Fred Wisson back from PTownSubbie. We're trying out some new technologies today. I've had this camera for a little while. We're going to try and start doing some casting feeds to see if we can't help some of the new casters out there not run into too many issues. So we're going to do some color casting today. I've got one of my 3x5 HDPE molds. That'll give me 3 7/8 blanks. It's a 3x5 and a 1/4 inch mold. This mold will hold approximately 300 grams of Alumilite resin. So what do I need to cast? We need resin, and the resin that I use for the majority of my cast is Alumilite clear. We sell it, so I usually have a 16-pound kit in the shop most times, and we do all our casting from the 16-pound kit. And you'll see I pour directly from the gallon container into my cups. That's how I've always done it. A lot of people will pour resin into a cup and then pour that resin into another cup because it's a little easier to handle. But I've had pretty good success doing it my way. And as long as you're casting with some type of volume, you don't have to worry so much about being as exact as what most people think. So I need resin, I need mold, I need some color, I need some cups, and I need some sur sticks. So I've talked about the resin, told you what kind of mold I'm going to use. Paper cups. These are just hot paper cups that don't have a wax cover on them. So they're non-wax paper cups. And so as long as you use non-wax, it's the best to use, because if you use a wax covered paper cup, when the resin heats up, that wax melts and that wax then gets into your resin. Not always the best thing for your resin, especially if you're casting clear. So that's the cups. I have a scale. This scale is good to about 1/10 of a gram, but I don't usually get that accurate, but it weighs that accurate. And this here is just a piece of wax paper that I've cut, and I put that over the scale so that any resin that I do pour doesn't actually get on the scale itself. And then you need some type of colorant. Colorant comes in 3 different forms. You've got powder, you have dyes, and you have pigments. So pigments are usually in a liquid paste form. We carry the Divine Island pigments, and a pigment will give you an opaque blank. Dyes are what we carry right now is the Alumilite dyes. The majority of those are transparent dyes. You can't use Alumilite dye alone unless you use a lot of it to get an opaque blank. So if you're going to use Alumilite dyes, you're going to want to use dyes and a little bit of pigment or a little bit of powder. I usually use dyes and powders. I don't usually mix a whole lot with the pigments, because the pigments are so concentrated that they truly give you an opaque blank. You don't have to worry about it. Well, the cast today, I'm going to use just mica powder. And the mica powder I'm using is our brand of mica powder. We rolled this out during the summertime, and we have a 32 color set that's got some special colors. It's got macro, pearl, and so today I'm going to actually use the Sapphire Blue, the Tangerine, and the Mint Green. So those will be my 3 colors. I'm going to do a 3-color pour in this mold that I told you holds 300 grams, and I'm going to do an equal amount of each. So 300 grams over 3 colors, that's 100 grams a piece. and since the resin is a 2-part 1-to-1 resin, I need to have 50 grams of A and 50 grams of B in each paper cup. So the other thing I failed to let you know about is I always have a marker nearby. After I fill the cup, I write on the cup how much resin went into that cup, so that I don't have a problem later on making sure that I get the same amount of resin. So, all right, let's zero out the scale here. And I always have some paper towels nearby, just in case I do spill something. So, all right, so that right there is 53 grams. So I wrote on there 53. That way, when I get to the next, we're good. All right, this one's 51. And this one again is 53. All right. So, after I cap my bottle, I'm going to cap my bottle. I take this, and so that I don't accidentally do that mistake that all of us have done before, and put B in B, and it never heats up and never cures, I'm going to take that bottle of resin and put it somewhere where it's not close. So I don't have to worry about potentially putting a B type resin in a B or an A type resin in an A. So if you haven't done it, you'll do it at some point. You know, it's just it's part of the christening. So now I'm going to take my stir stick, and these are just craft sticks from you know, like Walmart, and so put that in there, and I'm going to give it a good mix so that the mica powder mixes into the resin. You're not overly concerned about it at this point, but I always put my color in and mix it before I put my part A in. But everybody does things differently. You just need to figure out what works for you. I'm showing you what works for me. And this is Tangerine. This is the pure orange. If you're looking for a true orange, this is about as close as you're going to find to a true orange. So Tangerine is in the cup. And you see, I just use you know, a couple of tips of the stir stick. These are almost tongue depressor size, so they're the larger. They're not popsicle sticks. They're larger. And the last one is mint green. And this is a mint color. That's why it's called mint green. So nice color. Our mica powders are fairly fine. They dissolve in the liquid pretty quickly and rapidly, and you know, they give you a pretty good depth of color. We really like them. All right, so let's see. Now, some things you want to be thinking about is your pressure pot ready? Do you have everything set up? So right next to me here, I have my my 2.5 gallon casting rack with the removable shelves. I'm going to use this even though I'm using a hard mold. I'm just going to put the mold in it and then put that down into the pressure pot. If you look real close up here, let's see if I can zoom in. You look real close up here, I do have a bubble that I've purchased set on the top. That way when I put it in the pressure pot, you can tell whether or not it's it's level, because your pressure pot may not be sitting level in the rack that it's in, or something. But this way you'll make sure that your rack is level in the bottom of that pot. Last thing you want to do is put your mold in there, and then you've got 1 inch of resin on one side and a 1/2 inch on the other. Makes for blanks that you can't really use very much. The other thing I didn't mention that you're going to need is a infrared thermometer, because we're going to allow this resin to heat up some before we actually pour it, because if we don't, it's going to mix together and you're going to get yellow and blue makes green, and such. So we want to let the resin heat up some before we actually pour it. Now in the shop here I'm at about 65, 66 degrees, somewhere around there, and so it's going to take a little while for the resin to heat up. Alumilite clear, I'm going to start casting about 95 degrees. So this first cup, 53, so now I want 53 grams of A. We'll see how close I can get. As long as you pour slow, keep your eye on the scale. I usually get fairly good. Yeah, 52.88. That's pretty close to 53. So I take that, set that aside. I don't even give it a little bit of stir yet. So put my other resin up there and re-zero it again. Make sure you re-zero every time you put something new on it. So this one's 53 again. Alright, we're at 54, so that's close enough for what we're doing. And the last one. This one here is 51. Alright, 51.79, close enough. So now we're just gonna sit back down, start stirring. Scrape the sides. Make sure you don't have any resin that you haven't mixed up. Alright, we'll set that down. That was the mint green. Alright, back and forth, both directions. Scrape the sides. Sapphire Blue. This is a very deep blue, very rich blue. It's not a bright blue, it's more of a darker blue, but it's I love this color. Alright, so let me see if I can zoom in and show you guys these colors a little better. That's the sapphire. Here you've got the tangerine. And this one here is the mint green. Alright, so before you use the thermometer to measure your resin temperature, you want to mix it. Because if you don't, your reading is not going to be an accurate reading of the temperature of your of your resin. You're reading the top that has cooled down. So I'm at about 73 on that one, 72 on this one, and 73 on this one. So you can see it's come up a little bit already. It doesn't take long with this Alumilite clear. The clear has a pot time, or it has a work time of 7 minutes, and demolds in 45 to 90 minutes. If it's cold, you're going to get longer work time because your temperature starts lower, and will work its way up. So we just every once in a while reach in here and stir up and you know, scrape the sides. So this is the waiting game, but you don't want to lose focus. You don't want to concentrate on something else, because as soon as you do, what happens? Your resin goes up very rapidly in temperature, and you've created a rock. So yeah, we've all done it. We've all wasted resin. We've all tried to pour too late, created that big glob in the middle of your cast. You know, it's experience. That's what it's all about. It's it's a wasted cast for the most part. However, the experience you get from it is you know, the key point of that. Yeah, we're already up to 79 on that one. 77. So, like I said, it doesn't take long. We're gonna start prepping to pour about 95, and you know, when we go to pour, we're gonna pour a little bit of one color, a little bit of another color, a little bit of another color, and then just kind of, you know, layer the resin, and then we'll take one of the stir sticks and we'll you know, run it through it to put a little bit of a design in it, and we kind of go from there. $81, $79, and $79. So, you know, everybody gets worried when they start talking about Alumilite clear. Oh my God, it's only got 7 minutes of work time. But you can see how much time I've really had here to work with this. You know, from the time I poured it until now has got to be, I mean, it's got to be almost 4 or 5 minutes, I would think. Not timing it, but you know, you have a lot more time than what you think you do. Like I said, you just can't lose focus on what you're doing. As soon as you do, it you know, goes up rapidly in temperature, and you can start feeling it on the cup. You know, and after you cast for long enough, you'll get the feel. You'll get the feel for you know, when it's time to pour based on your cup thickness. These cups are pretty thick, so you can feel it starting to warm up, but it's gonna nowhere near get hot. So bear with me a little bit as temperature continues to come up. So while we're waiting on temperature to come up, now until the end of the year, we're having a special on mica powder. Go to our website, PTownSubbie.com, if that's not where you found this video, and take a look at our mica powders. Anything that comes in a bundle is reduced, and we're doing that because our customers and you guys this year have just been phenomenal. Even with the pandemic going on, it seems like you know, everybody's still out there casting, and it's a little bit that we can give back to those that have you know, helped us throughout this year. So we do appreciate all the customers, and you know, I've gotten sent out a lot of help to different people. So hopefully, if you have questions, get in touch with us. I'm more than willing to help to try to work through a casting issue. I've worked through enough casting issues with people that there's not a whole lot I haven't seen. So this mint green is at 91, so we're getting really close. Almost there. Yep. All right. So let's zoom in here so you can actually see what I'm actually pouring. And so I'm going to take the cup. I could start feeling this through here now. We're about there. And I'm going to scrape off the excess. There was my last mix. Scrape off the excess. Yeah, luckily they all came up at the same, about the same rate. If they don't, you always work off of the hottest one. The hottest one reaches 95. That's when you want to go ahead and get ready to pour. All right, so now I'm just going to take these, going to pinch the cup. I'm just going to put some of one color down, put some of another color down, and this is where you start playing, you know, mixies with your hands. And you can see in the mold how it's kind of mixing together on its own. Spreading out. Everybody's got their own technique on how they do it. You see some that want to do a flip cup pour, others that you know, just pour it all in the mold and kind of mix it later. You want to minimize your mixing, because any mixing that you do is only taking that resin and you know, mixing the yellow and blue. You're getting the green out of the yellow and blue. So that's why you see me kind of putting lines in there, going different directions with the lines. And then we're going to take one of the stir sticks, and we're going to do the same thing with the stir stick inside of it, kind of lifting it top to bottom, back and forth, and what have you. All right, a little bit more green. All right, so now we're going to take this stir stick, and I'm just going to kind of lift as I go through. And I'm not really trying to mix, I'm just trying to get the resin to move around inside itself. So that looks pretty cool. All right, got my pressure pot sitting right back here. Let me go full screen again so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to pick up my rack, put it down in my pressure pot, make sure that it's level down there. Make sure my top's real tight. There we go. Now I'm just gonna fill it with air. All right, that's it. We got our mold in the pressure pot at about I don't know, 40, 45 pounds, somewhere in there. and that's all she wrote in about, I don't know, an hour and a half. I'll go ahead and take it out. I always tend to leave it in there a little bit longer than is required, just because in the colder months it takes a little bit longer to cure. And what I don't want to do is open it up too early and introduce, let air bubbles come out of solution, if there are any. So if you have any questions, ask them below, or get in touch with us at PTownSubbie.com and send us a message and we'll get back to you. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going to try to do these more and more, and we'll see you around. Thanks.